Hi.
Hi, good to see you.
Okay, so I am Samantha Lohmann from LiveTheta, and this with us today is Rouven Will. So hi, how are you?
Hi, good to see you. I'm great. Thank you so much. Hey, nice to meet you. My name is Rouven. I'm from Hamburg and I'm a theta healer. I'm a theta healing instructor and practitioner, of course. I do a lot of sessions and seminars in and around Hamburg, live and online. I'm also a musician and do musical events in Hamburg. And that's absolute my passion. Like healing work since ever has been part of my life. And you just asked me how did I come to theta healing? Um, well, I started theta healing. The first seminar I did in 2019 as a basic practitioner. I would say it just found me. You know, I've done a lot of different modalities before. It has always been part of my life, and it all comes together in theta healing for me. I started 2019. It's a very short answer to that.
Like
I
what drew
can,
you into taking a class, a theta healing class? You already mentioned you've gone through several modalities, or you knew
yes,
something about healing. What drew you
you
to the
know,
healing?
spirituality has always been part of my life. Also the connection to God, to spirit, however you call this life force, you know, has always been inspiring in my life. And when theta healing came in my life, when I heard it for the first time, I just knew it. This feeling was there, and I knew, okay, this is going to be something. And I said to the creator back then, you know, now I call it, I was talking to the creator. I was doing this before in my life, like all the time. I recognized it when I came to Theta Healing, but I had this feeling, this impulse, like, this is something where I need to go. And then I said, okay, so when the time is right, then you bring it to me. And then I met the right people. And of course, in the bigger picture, this was part of my own healing path, you know? It was part of my own healing path of finding my purpose was a big thing in these, like in the course of my life for sure, like healing, finding purpose, helping other people. So I went through many things, and with Theta Healing, all of these things came together and became a big direction
That's
and
so cool. Yeah.
became basically an essential and the most essential part of my life, to be honest, you know, like, yeah.
And I know you also as a German translator.
Yes.
So how long have you been translating
I
City Healing
am
seminars?
one of two translators. Matthias is the other one, of course. And for me, I've been translating. I was asked for the first time in 2022 when I was in Switzerland. It was super amazing because this is when Matthias approached me and asked, you know, if I want to translate Josh and Raina. They were live in Switzerland back then for some seminars, like you and your significant other in intuitive anatomy. So we had them live, and you and the Earth also with Josh and Raina and Vienna remote. And this was the first time in summer 22 when I was like doing the first live session translating. Later that year, I translated Vienna for the first time in Manifesting in Abundance. And from then on, it really kept going. And it's like a homecoming, you know, I'm super grateful. It's amazing. I love it. Yeah,
That's so cool.
it
I
is so
did some
cool.
trans I did some translating of seminars too. And I absolutely love it. It makes you feel focused, connected to the energy of creator, connected to the energy of the teacher, connected to the energy of the students. I think it's just like a very nice energy and a very nice. It was completely new for me, and it's become something I actually love.
Absolutely. And you know, it's like I have done consecutive translations before a few times in my life, but doing it, especially together with this technique, it's not like a translation. You know, you're not just translating something that's spoken, it's like a channeling. And it's a full on, like you said, you're so connected to the teacher, to the energy, to the material and everything. And yeah, this is indescribable. I love it. I mean, you know what I'm
It-
talking about, just trying to picture it for the people watching, you know, like this is really everyone who's a teacher, it's similar to that. Like when you're teaching, you're in that same kind of state where you're just in the flow state or when you're giving a session, and the translation is this maybe a little bit amplified.
yeah, it's a really nice energy. And now we do the most of the translations in Vedic healing are simultaneous,
Yeah.
and it becomes much more of that energy that you're saying, like the flow, the
Yeah.
connection. It's super nice. And when you were talking about this, I got this reminder because you've had the experience of certifying and translating in person,
Yes.
online,
Yeah.
and in remote locations. So
Yeah.
what do you have to say
All of it.
about these different modalities?
You know, it's super interesting. I just wanted to come to that topic also, because some people, we're getting the question also, you know, like, okay, like, how is it if I do the class online? How is it compared to in person? And what can you recommend? And it's very hard to recommend something because both has its own magic, you know. Also for my clients, I tell them the technique works. Doesn't matter on the phone, online, or in person. It just works, you know, and it bridges like the thought of, oh, there's a distance because we are connected. So that is a big impact when you, for example, decide to become a teacher or doing a session or a seminar online. And I tell you about my experiences. So of course, there's this amazing magic when people come together for a live class. You can connect in the break. You can, you know, touch each other. When you do the sessions, you can hold the hands and stuff like that. So there is, of course, more exchange when it comes to socializing, which is amazing and can build a big, big, big foundation. And yet, I have still from my very first instructor's training, which was online, we're still having a WhatsApp group. We're still very connected. I'm still closely connected to people from there that I met there. And I mean, I cannot say this is better or this is better because both is amazing and you get big, big benefits. And of course, if you go traveling somewhere, like us, for example, we met for the first time live in Montana, I believe. And you know, if you go travel somewhere and you have the effort of traveling, of finding accommodation, it will be worth it. And it will like come back to you in ways you can't even imagine.
I think we met for the first time in Hawaii, which is even more magical.
Of course, that's even more magical. I love it. It was Kauai, right? Yes. Oh
It's
my God, of
my
course.
first time in Hawaii, so
For me
it was a
too.
very memorable experience. I loved it. And
Yeah.
then yeah, then we have some experiences in Montana, which is amazing. I
Yeah.
love
I was
Montana.
gonna say, you know, the bond that is created because we met on Kauai like twice, 23, 24, and then in Montana. And you know, on Kauai, the second time it was a long time that we spent together. Um, and these times in the seminar, they're strong, you know, like you really, really bond when you go live somewhere. Like if you haven't experienced this, it's hard to explain to someone how it is to be live together in a theta healing class. And I mean, also you were mentioning the remote locations. And so we have basically three types of seminars, kind of, right? We have online, like everybody's online. Then we have remote when Vienna is streamed into the classroom. And then we have live with Vienna and the full team at the same place. And there is this little thing that it doesn't really make a difference, you know, because if you're connected, like Vienna's energy is present anyways in the classroom, also when you're in a remote location and she is streamed. Of course, it's beautiful to have the interaction between the breaks with each other, you know, in a live location. But there's magic happening in the remote locations as well. I mean, like I've been to quite some remote locations, I would say so far, and they are all magical. You know, the hosts are amazing. They do a fantastic job. The atmosphere created is amazing, and it's absolutely worth it. And connections are
That's so
being made,
true.
you know? Yeah,
Yeah, connections are made, and that is the main thing, to be able to connect with like-minded people, to be able to connect to the energy of a creator. And as
yeah,
you say, like we have amazing coordinators, and each of them have something special that they bring on to their event. So I really
absolutely.
like the remote locations, also the of course the in live. I remember like a lot of people were having a bit of an issue when we moved. Like Theta Healing used to be all completely in person
Yeah,
seminars, and
yeah,
when we moved to online, I remember there was a lot of people that they didn't want to move online And after a while, I realized what it was. There were so many online courses, which are pre-recorded material, and you just sort of log in and you have to spend these hours in front of the computer, and it feels all so still and boring. And that's not necessarily what you were expecting of Theta Healing. You wanted something
Mhm.
alive, and you wanted something
Yeah,
personal, something
yeah,
deep. And I think Diana and her team are doing a great job because each class that it's online, they are alive there. Um, so there are live classes. They are somewhere transmitting from different places in the world,
yes,
and
yeah,
depending where they are at. And that made the transition to remote locations really easy because that way it was for them, it's the same. Like they are teaching their class that it's live somewhere else, either through the computer or in a different location.
yeah,
And it creates like a, I think like a magical energy, like a magical bond, because honestly, I've been to many instructor classes and I've never had the same experience. Each class is different. Each class is focused on
mm,
different topics, on different things arises, different questions, different
yeah,
energy, different people. So it's always different. And they managed to make that magical experience also in the online classes and of course the remote location. So part of the remote locations are there because some of the exercises have to be done in person. And I think it also helps us, like you say, build a community. There's a lot of people that still need that physical touch. They still need to be able to be there in person. Also, to have some food and nurturing and to have a little bit of chatting during the breaks. I think that is something that's really good. So I really enjoy the remote locations and
yeah.
having been coordinating those and being present in those.
You know, it's also very cool if you go to a remote location. Like I've been to Switzerland and the Switzerland team a lot of times, and they're amazing. And it's also super great opportunity for me to get to know another country or even another place. You know, I mean, that's an adventure. And Theta Healing for me is like it is community, right? It is growing deeply from community. The stories that Vienna tells, you know, it comes always from your own community. It started to build, you know, from her community, and now it became like a world community. And that feeling is what you have in online and in person. And like you said, like every seminar is different. Even now in the online classes right now, the seminars are one day after the other. And sometimes the classes change, of course. Like you go from Dig Deeper to You and the Creator, completely different energy from one day to the other. Completely different energy. That is incredible. And also for the people watching, like you can make sure if you decide to come to a place and even online or remote or in person, the right people will come together. They will always come together, and that makes it magical. And as you said, you've been a coordinator for a lot of times, right? And a long time also. And now something new is coming up for you as well, right? Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So I've been a coordinator since 2015. My first coordinating seminar was in Germany. I
Oh,
enjoyed
really?
so much our
Love
time
it.
in Germany. So you're moving to
Amazing.
different countries, I'm going to different countries.
So cool.
Yeah, so this year we're coordinating for the first time for us as LiveTheta. We're coordinating New York, and it's gonna be super great. We're having intuitive anatomy, and we are having the intuitive child in me.
No.
And I was gonna also sort of segue there because I wanted to say, um, when we are coordinating, we have to make sure that we have like the right space, that we have the right food, that everybody finds about the location, that they get excited to come. And it's super convenient for a lot of people when we do, for example, in Spain. A lot of people don't want to travel outside of Spain, or it's difficult for them, or they don't speak the language, they only speak Spanish. So having the remote location in Spain helps a lot of people just be there and have it in their language. So for New York, this time it's going to be a little bit different because, of course, it's US based. There are other locations in the US. It's going to be Montana as well. So you have options to decide where you want to go. So
Yeah.
like I said, it usually has to do more with the energy of the place. If you want to feel that energy. If New York is your hometown, of course, you would like to have classes there and be able to be with near your family, near your work. So I think it's like a really great opportunity.
Mhm.
And the classes that we're having, it's intuitive anatomy has this new format that I honestly enjoy so much because it's the first 2 weeks it's online, and the third week is the one that we meet in person. So it used to be that even for that class, you had to, you, that class, you have to really be committed to yourself, to your
Yeah.
development, because it's
Yeah.
3 weeks of your life. As a practitioner, I remember the first time I took that class, it was a huge thing. I had to decide whether I had to work or take the class. And I had the opportunity to have someone support me at that moment saying, hey, we can do this. My mom and I took the class together, sort of. It was a funny situation. Our teachers decided to teach two groups, one in the morning, one in the evening. So we sort of divided. She was in the morning, I was in the evening. So whenever I was in class, she would take care of my clients, she would take care of my business. And whenever she was in class, I would take care of her business and her clients, and it
I
sort of
love it.
worked out perfectly.
Perfect.
So it was an interesting experience for me. But I remember still having that, oh my gosh, it's 3 weeks, how am I gonna make it? And of course, Creator came in and supported me and made it possible for me to be able to take the class. And I was also on a payment plan, and that was why I was so stressed about working, because I had to be able to get the money to pay for the class. And it was very magical because every time I had to pay, I had the money there. The money would come in sort of magically, and I
Yeah.
got to 35.
Yeah.
And it was such a magical experience for me, and I transformation. I learned so much. I grew so much from the class. And when we are now coordinating as an instructor event, they made this new format and makes it so much easier because you still have to
Mhm.
commit the 3 weeks, but at least the first 2 weeks you are in your own space, in your own energy, which allows you to be close to your family and maybe do like I like that from the online classes and the remote locations online, that when you're in your space, whether it's your house or your office, you're there. So once the class finishes, literally you just close the computer and you can do whatever comes next. So I
Exactly.
think it
Yeah.
gives you a lot of time, extra time, instead of
Extra
having to
time.
commute,
Mhm.
instead of having to be moving to, oh, I need to get to the class and I need to be there. And then you have the week in person, which allows you, like, either you're traveling for that week to a remote location, and it sort of helps you get your mind out of things, separate yourself from whatever worries or situations that you're having at home, and focus on yourself completely, focus on being present in the classes. And if it is your house, like your city, then it also helps you like change the energy, change the scenery, meet with people,
Yeah.
have this in-person exchange. I really love that, the way that this intuitive anatomy has come. And I'm thinking New Year is gonna be so excited. For New York, Intuitive Anatomy, we have it right in Times Square, which for me is gonna be so
Oh
fun
my
because you can
God,
be
I
like
love it.
in the quietness of the energy of the class, and then you just walk outside and it's gonna be the bustle and hustle and everything. And of course, if you don't love the bustle and hustle for a moment, it's so fun. And then you can go to a park, or you can go to your hotel, or you can go home and just continue having an amazing day.
I think New York is a perfect place, you know.
Mm.
Like, thing I wanted to mention when it comes to the remote locations also, they're not limited by language, which is the cool thing, because we have all languages available in all of the locations. You know, so even when you, for example, you come from Germany and you say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go to New York and do the week there, you could basically do it because you will have the German translation in your ear, and you will have that for all locations. So that gives people a lot of freedom also. And the other thing I wanted to say, what was that? Yeah, it's always like when you bring such a powerful seminar, yeah, like intuitive anatomy, intuitive child in me, all of these things into places like New York or like wherever, I have the feeling it always changes the place as well, you know, because you kind of anchor a beautiful energy. And New York is amazing because it has many, many, many cool people. It's a very vibrant city. I think Theta Healing fits there perfectly. And I feel like it's a very psychic place also, you know, like I think it's going to be amazing to bring it there.
Yeah, I've had so many great experiences, like psychic and spiritual experiences in New York. And as you say, like I do believe that because we're bringing the energy also, even let's say the remote location has maybe 30 people, and then there's 30 in another location, and then there's 30 in another location, and then there's 30 in another location. So it's like there's going to be so many locations around the world that it creates this energy of collective consciousness.
Yeah.
And it's not just in one place, we're connecting worldwide. So I think that helps us with this focus of helping and healing all around the world. And like you said, like you have the freedom of traveling to a different location, even if you're having the remote location in your country. And if you want to go to a different country, you can do that. And that way we are all completely connected. And I think New York also has that thing, like it brings people from all over the world. So basing the energy there, putting that in the collective consciousness of people, I think is gonna be really good. I mean, it's not the first time, of course, that this happened. There's other instructors and there's other seminars that have been there, but every little thing I think just adds to that. And the more we are, the more
Sure.
it's gonna grow.